spending after spending hundreds of thousands of years hunting and foraging for food in the wild, the human brain has evolved to place a high value on salt, sugar, and fat. Such foods are often calorie dense, and they were quite rare when our ancient ancestors were roaming the savannah. When you don't know where your next meal is coming from, eating as much as possible is an excellent strategy for survival. Today, however, we live in a calorie rich environment. Food is abundant, but your brain continues to crave it it is scarce. Placing a high value on salt, sugar, and fat is no longer advantageous to our health, but the craving persists because the brain's reward centers have not changed for approximately 50,000 years. The modern food industry relies on stretching up Paleolithic instincts beyond their evolutionary purpose. A primary goal of food science is to create products that are more attractive to consumers. Nearly every food in a bag, box, or jar has been enhanced in some way, if only with additional flavoring. Companies spend millions of dollars to discover the most satisfying level of crunch in a potato chip or the perfect amount of fizz in a soda. Entire departments are dedicated to optimizing how a product feels in your mouth, the quality known as oro sensation. I think all of us look now how it tastes, how it crunches, and that's what attracts us. French fries, for example, are a potent combination: golden brown and crunchy on the outside, light and smooth on the inside. Other processed foods enhance dynamic contrast, which refers to items with combination of sensations like crunchy and creamy. Imagine the gooiness of melted cheese on top of a crispy pizza crust, or a crunch of an Oreo cookie combined with its smooth center. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but my mouth is watering. With natural unprocessed foods, you tend to experience the same sensations over and over. How's that the 17th? But
Tell
how
me which page, Kamti? Sorry to disturb. Where
it
exactly?
in 103? How
Please
to
go.
make a habit irresistible.
Okay.
Chapter 8.
No.
Okay. How's that 17th bite of kale taste? After a few minutes, your brain loses interest and you begin to feel full. But foods that are high in dynamic contrast keep the experience novel and interesting, encouraging you to eat more. Ultimately, such strategies enable food scientists to find the bliss point for each product, the precise combination of salt, sugar, and fat that excites your brain and keeps you coming back for more. The result, of course, is that you overeat because hyperpalatable foods are more attractive to the human brain. As Stephen Guynet, a neuroscientist who specializes in eating behavior and obesity, says, we gotten too good at pushing our own buttons.
Shall I continue?
Yeah.
The modern food industry and the overeating habits it has spawned is just one example of the second law of behavior change. Make it attractive. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit forming. Look around. Society is filled with highly engineered versions of reality that are more attractive than the world our ancestors evolved in. Stores feature mannequins with exact dressed to sell clothes. Social media delivers more likes and praise in a few minutes than we could ever get in the office or at home. Online porn splices together stimulating scenes at a rate that would be impossible to replicate in real life. Advertisements are created with a combination of ideal lighting, professional makeup, and photoshopped edits. Even the model doesn't look like the person in the final image. These are the supernormal stimuli of our modern world. They exaggerate features that are naturally attractive to us, and our instincts go wild as a result, driving us into excessive shopping habits, social media habits, porn habits, eating habits, and many others. If history serves as a guide, the opportunities of the future will be more attractive than those of today. The trend is for rewards to become more concentrated and stimuli to become more enticing. Junk food is a more concentrated form of calories than natural foods. Hard liquor is a more concentrated form of alcohol than beer. Video games are a more concentrated form of play than board games. Compared to nature, these pleasure packed experiences are hard to resist. We have the brains of our ancestors, but temptations they never had to face. If you want to increase the odds that a behavior will occur, then you need to make it attractive. Throughout our discussion of the second law, our goal is to learn how to make our habits irresistible. While it is not possible to transform every habit into a supernormal stimulus, we can make any habit more enticing. To do this, we must start by understanding what a craving is and how it works. We begin by examining a biological signature that all habits share, the dopamine spike, the dopamine driven feedback loop. Scientists can track the precise moment a craving occurs by measuring a
Why
neurotransmitter
don't you
called
mention what dopamine is? They have told
where
at the bottom. Okay, I'll read it out.
where is it?
At the bottom of the page.
It's not there in mine.
Okay, I'll read it out then. Dopamine is not the only chemical that influences your brain. Every behavior involves multiple brain regions and neurochemicals. And anyone who claims that habits are all about dopamine is skipping over major portions of the process. It is just one of the important role players in habit formation. However, I will single out the dopamine circuit in this chapter because it provides a window into the biological underpinnings of desire, craving, and motivation that are behind every habit.
Yeah, it's there in the hard copy, I think.
Yeah.
Scientists can track the precise moment a craving occurs by measuring a neurotransmitter called dopamine. The importance of dopamine became apparent in 1954. Neuroscientists James Olds and Peter Milner ran an experiment that revealed the neurological processes behind craving and desire. By implanting electrodes in the brains of rats, the researchers blocked the release of dopamine. To the surprise of the scientists, the rats lost all will to live. They wouldn't eat, they wouldn't have sex, they didn't crave anything. Within a few days, the animals died of thirst. In follow-up studies, other scientists also inhibited the dopamine releasing parts of the brain, but this time they squirted little droplets of sugar into the mouths of the dopamine depleted rats. Their little rat faces lit up with pleasurable grins from the tiny substance. Even though dopamine was blocked, they liked the sugar just as much as before. They just didn't want it anymore. The ability to experience pleasure remained, but without dopamine, desire died. And without desire, action stopped. When other researchers reversed this process and flooded the reward system of the brain with dopamine, animals performed habits at breakneck speed. In one study, mice received a powerful hit of dopamine each time they poked their nose in a box. Within minutes, the mice developed a craving so strong that they began poking their nose into the box 800 times per hour. Humans are not so different. The average slot machine player will spin the wheel 600 times per hour. This is a game. Habits are a dopamine driven feedback loop. Every behavior that is highly habit forming, taking drugs, eating junk food, playing video games, browsing social media, is associated with higher levels of dopamine. The same can be said for our most basic habitual behaviors like eating food, drinking water, having sex, and interacting socially. For years, scientists assumed dopamine was all about pleasure. But now we know it plays a central role in many neurological processes, including motivation, learning and memory, punishment and aversion, and voluntary movement. When it comes to habits, the key takeaway is this: dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. Gambling addicts have a dopamine spike right before they place a bet, not after they win. Cocaine addicts get a surge of dopamine when they see the powder, not after they take it. Whenever you predict that an opportunity will be rewarding, your levels of dopamine spike in anticipation. And whenever dopamine rises, so does your motivation to act. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. Interestingly, the reward system that is activated in the brain when you receive a reward, sorry, continue, I'll just.
Yeah. It is the anticipation of the reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. Interestingly, the reward system that is activated in the brain when you receive a reward is the same system that is activated when you anticipate a reward. This is one reason the anticipation of an experience can often feel better than the attainment of it. As a child, thinking about Christmas morning can be better than opening the gifts. As an adult, daydreaming about an upcoming vacation can be more enjoyable than actually being on vacation. Scientists refer to this as the difference between wanting and liking. Okay, so the dopamine spike, A, B, okay, you have to read it to understand. So, okay, before a habit is learned, that is A, the dopamine is released when the reward is experienced for the first time. The next time round, B, dopamine rises before taking the action and immediately after the cue is recognized. This spike leads to a feeling of desire and a craving to take action whenever the cue is spotted. Once a habit is learned, dopamine will not rise when the reward is experienced because you already expect the reward. However, if you see a cue and expect a reward but do not get one, then dopamine will drop in disappointment. C. Sensitivity of the dopamine response can clearly be seen when a reward is provided late. Okay, so first the cue is identified, the dopamine rises as the craving builds. Next, a response is taken, but the reward does not come as quickly as expected, and dopamine begins to drop. Finally, when the reward comes a little later than you had hoped, dopamine spikes again. It is as if the brain is saying, see, I knew I was right. Don't forget to repeat this action next time.
Your brain has far more neural circulatory allocated for wanting rewards than for liking them. The wanting centers in the brain are large. The brainstem, the nucleus accumbens, the ventral tegmental area, the dorsal striatum, the amygdala, and portions of the prefrontal cortex. By comparison, the liking centers of the brain are much smaller. They are often referred to as hedonic hotspots and are distributed like tiny islands throughout the brain. For instance, researchers have found that 100% of the nucleus accumbens is activated during wanting. Meanwhile, only 10% of the structure is activated during liking. The fact that the brain allocates so much precious space to the regions responsible for craving and desire provides further evidence of the crucial role these processes play. Desire is the engine that drives behavior. Every action is taken because of the anticipation that precedes it. It is the craving that leads to the response. These insights reveal the importance of the second law of behavior change. We need to make our habits attractive because it is the expectation of a rewarding experience that motivates us to act in the first place. This is where a strategy known as temptation bundling comes into play. How to use temptation bundling to make your habits more attractive. Ronan Bayer, Dublin, Ireland, enjoyed watching Netflix, but he also knew that he should exercise more often than he did. Putting his engineering skills to use, Byrne hacked his stationary bike and connected to his laptop and television. Then he wrote a computer program that would allow Netflix to run only if he was cycling at a certain speed. If he slowed down for too long, Whatever show he was watching would pause until he started pedaling again. He was, in the words of one fan, eliminating obesity one Netflix binge at a time. He was also employing temptation bundling to make his exercise habit more attractive. Temptation bundling works by linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. In Bynes' case, he bundled watching Netflix, the thing he wanted to do, with riding his stationary bike, the thing he needed to do. Businesses are masters at temptation bundling. For instance, when the American Broadcasting Company, more commonly known as ABC, launched its Thursday night television lineup for the 2014-2015 season, they promoted temptation bundling on a massive scale. Every Thursday, the company would air 3 shows created by screenwriter Shonda Rhimes: Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder. They branded it as TGIT on ABC. TGIT stands for Thank God It's Thursday. In addition to promoting the shows, ABC encouraged viewers to make popcorn, drink red wine, and enjoy the evening. Andrew Kubitz, head of scheduling for ABC, described the idea behind the campaign. We see Thursday night as the viewership opportunity with either couples or women by themselves who want to sit down and escape and have fun and drink their red wine and have some popcorn. The brilliance of this strategy is that ABC was associating the thing they needed viewers to do, that is, watch their shows, with activities their viewers already wanted to do, that is, relax, drink wine, and eat popcorn. Over time, people began to connect watching ABC with feeling relaxed and entertained. If you drink red wine and eat popcorn at 8 p.m. every Thursday, then eventually 8 p.m. on Thursday means relaxation and entertainment. The reward gets associated with the cue, and the habit of turning on the television becomes more attractive. You're more likely to find a behavior attractive if you get to do one of your favorite things at the same time. Perhaps you want to hear about the latest celebrity gossip, but you need to get in shape. Using temptation bundling, you could only read the tabloids and watch reality shows at the gym. Maybe you want to get a pedicure, but you need to clean out your email box. Solution: only get a pedicure while processing overdue work emails. Temptation bundling is one way to apply a psychology theory known as Primark's principle. Named after the work of Professor David Primark, the principle stated that more probable behaviors will reinforce less probable behaviors. In other words, even if you don't really want to process overdue work mails, you will become conditioned to do it if it means you get to do something that you really want to do along the way. You can even combine temptation bundling with the habit stacking strategy we discussed in chapter 5 to create a set of rules to guide your behavior. The habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula is: after current habit, I will habit I need. After habit I need, I will habit I want. If you want to read the news but you need to express more gratitude, after I get my morning coffee, I will grateful for that happened yesterday. After I say one thing I'm grateful for, I will read the news. If you want to watch sports but you need to make sales calls, after I get back from my lunch break, I will call 3 potential clients. That is the need. After I call 3 potential clients, I will check ESPN. That is the want. If you want to check Facebook but you need to exercise more, after I pull out my phone, I will do 10 burpees. Burpees is one kind of exercise. After I do 10 burpees, I will check Facebook. The hope is that eventually you look forward to calling 3 clients or doing 10 burpees because it means you get to read the latest sports news or check Facebook. Doing the thing you need to do means you get to do the thing you want to do. We began this chapter by discussing supernormal stimuli, which are heightened versions of reality that increase our desire to take action. Temptation bundling is one way to create a heightened version of any habit by connecting it with something you already want. Engineering a truly irresistible habit is a hard task, but this simple strategy can be employed to make nearly any habit more attractive than it would be otherwise. Chapter summary. The second law of behavior change is make it attractive. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit forming. Habits are a dopamine driven feedback loop. When dopamine rises, so does our motivation to act. It is the anticipation of a reward, not the fulfillment of it, that gets us to take action. The greater the anticipation, the greater the dopamine spike. Temptation bundling is one way to make your habits more attractive. The strategy is to pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do. So what is the time? 10:40. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Maybe we'll do one page. Kanti, what do we say? What do you say? That till that seductive pole of social norms. Till there we'll do. You're on mute.
Yeah, I'll do it. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. In 1965, a Hungarian man named Laszlo Polgar wrote a series of strange letters to a woman named Clara. Laszlo was a firm believer in hard work. In fact, it was all he believed in. He completely rejected the idea of innate talent. He claimed that with deliberate practice and the development of good habits, a child could become a genius in any field. His mantra was, a genius is not born, but is educated and trained. Laszlo believed in this idea so strongly that he wanted to test it with his own children. And he was writing to Clara because he needed a willing wife to he needed a wife willing to jump on board. Clara was a teacher, and although she may not have been as adamant as Laszlo, she also believed that with proper instruction, anyone could advance their skills. Laszlo decided chess would be a suitable field for the experiment, and he laid out a plan to raise his children to become chess prodigies. The kids would be homeschooled, a rarity in Hungary at that time, and the house would be filled with chess books and pictures of famous chess players. The children would play against each other constantly and compete in the best tournaments they could find. The family kept a meticulous file system of the tournament history of every competitor the children faced. Their lives would be dedicated to chess. Laszlo successfully courted Clara, and within a few years, the Polgars were parents to 3 young girls, Susan, Sophia, and Judith. Susan, the oldest, began playing chess when she was 4 years old. Within 6 months, she was defeating adults. Sophia, the middle child, did even better. By 14, she was a world champion, and a few years later, she became a grandmaster. Judith, the youngest, was the best of all. By age 5, she could beat her father. At 12, she was the youngest player ever listed among the top 100 chess players in the world. At 15 years and 4 months, she became the youngest grandmaster of all time, younger than Bobby Fischer, the previous record holder. For 27 years, she was #1 ranked female chess player in the world. The childhood of Polgar sisters was atypical, to say the least. And yet, if you ask them about it, they claim the lifestyle was attractive, even enjoyable. In interviews, the sisters talked about their childhood as entertaining rather than grueling. They loved playing chess. They couldn't get enough of it. Once Laszlo reportedly found Sophia playing chess in the bathroom in the middle of the night. Encouraging her to go back to sleep, he said, Sophia, leave the pieces alone. To which she replied, Daddy, they won't leave me alone. The Polgar sisters grew up in a culture that prioritized chess above all else, praised them for it, rewarded them for it. In their world, an obsession with chess was normal. And as we are about to see, whatever habits are normal in your culture are among the most attractive behaviors you'll find. Okay, now we have another 2 minutes for 10:45, but we will stop here because the next one is a continuous material. So we will start with. Arey, what happened to Dharni? Dharni disappeared.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask each one of them, or even you, Kanti. I think all of us have to put on our thinking hats and just see how we can make this our Thursday hackathon. Temptation bundling for our Friday hackathon, wherein they feel I have to attend this Thursday, come what may, and there's some cues, what we should do. So for our course, in fact, see, I will tell you, all of you, you're all students. You are not teachers, you're not course creators. But on the other hand, if you put your mind to all these things, let me tell you, your learning also will improve. They say, if you try to teach something, then you learn better. So I want you people also to become part of this and try and tell us what are the ways in which we can make these whatever, whether it's reading, listening, speaking, writing, or LSRW, or whatever we are doing in the courses. How do we make see, because you're all engineers, okay? Most of you are, at least, other than Chandrasekhar. So you should put your mind and tell us what we can do to make this into a habit formation. Okay.
Look at
So
that engineering student, man. He connected his bike to his TV, and he said Netflix will play only when he exercises.
absolutely. So like this, we have to think out of the box and come up with different ideas how to make this
And
totally interesting and what do you
India
say?
is known for its jugaad.
Yes, correct. So let's think. Hopefully, at least we'll get some ideas, one or two. Okay, we'll hear from each one of you.
What are your takeaways,
We'll
and
start
also
with Swati. Hmm?
what are the takeaways, and also what idea do you have to make the hackathon interesting?
Yes, yes.
Irresistible.
Okay, who wants to go? Okay,
I'll
Akshay.
start.
Yes.
Ma'am, today that electrical engineer part was very nice. The way he just, especially that only if he cycles, that Netflix will play. So that was really interesting. And the thing is, temptation bundling. I guess even I'll implement that. If I have to check out social media, I'll just say to myself that if I complete one chapter or if I complete so many pages, I'll just check on social media. That I shall implement in different ways. Ma'am. And coming to those hackathons, I guess what I feel is, for example, presentation challenge. Currently we'll be watching presentation challenge. So if we are watching presentation challenge that week, uh, I guess we can just do it like everybody will create some presentation about any topic or about themselves or anything like that, and present it to the audience like practically if they try once in front of you all.
That's exactly what we are doing now.
I
That was
mean, like,
exactly what you were supposed to be doing, Akshaya.
Which you didn't. None of you did. So the
Only
idea is, how
Chandrasekhar
do
came.
we bundle it with something, or I don't know, implementation intention. So many things we're learning. Okay, let's keep thinking on those lines. Okay, Chandrasekhar.
Uh, as I'm here, I like how the person trained his children in home, like they putting whole home atmosphere as a chess. The wallpaper as chess. They played who was the winner and who inspired chess. In the home, the atmosphere itself is a chess is there. The child born like after they born, they learn home like. They learn with his fathers, his parents. After the certain age, they chess is the child is not a toughest game for others is it tough, but those child is like a play game. Here I also used in when I studying second PU. Here I someone teach me chess. That is the hardest game and toughest game. But after it's a, like a game and it's interesting game like to play again and again. It's the most puzzling game. Chess is. I like the chess how they train in home. His parents train home in children. And yes, I not the temptation bundling is one way to make your habits are more attractive. This one I want to not here, ma'am. And another thing here, mm, temptation bundling works by linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do. And also this one. And yes, ma'am. Next, dopamine. Yeah, ma'am. Scientists assume that the dopamine was all about pleasure, but now it plays a central role in many neurological processes, including motivation, learning, and memory, punishment, aversion, a voluntary moment. Ma'am, dopamine is like a
Dopamine.
drug, no, ma'am.
Dopamine.
Dopamine is.
No. So
It's
dopamine is found in your brain. It
You
is
have
found in natural way.
it's there as a drug also.
Yes.
The same thing.
I know you're a science student, they're looking at it from a different point of view, but dopamine is something that is found in body naturally. And only when there's a lack of it that people are given dopamine as a medicine, especially in diseases like Parkinson's, where there's a lack of dopamine.
Yeah, Santosh, can we hear from you? Then we'll go to Swati.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Today, yesterday we learned the first rule, which is to make the cues of good habits obvious. And today we have learned the first rule to break our bad habits, which is to make the cues of bad habits invisible. And so the second rule, which is temptation bundling formula. I find the temptation bundling formula not only to make the good habits attractive, but also feels like it's a punishment to the bad habits. It depends. Like if the good habit, suppose if I want to do like 30 push-ups before eating a chocolate, I will think like whether or not I should eat a chocolate to do 30 push-ups. So
you'd rather not do push-ups or not eat chocolates, both, is it?
yeah. So I thought it was we can use this temptation building in this way as well. We can make a habit attractive. We can also break a bad habit in this way. And one more thing regarding hackathon, how to make it attractive. I think we need to make it in a way that there should be some peer pressure. Because when I was studying, when I was a student and doing engineer, if there is an assignment, we have a group of friends, and if some of the friends had attempted and already completed their assignment task, then I don't know why, but it's a peer pressure to me. I will definitely do that. So I think if you could find a method where we increase the peer pressure among our students in this course, then I think we may make the course attractive.
Okay. Good. Let's see how we can work on that. Swati?
I think she's multitasking.
Yeah. So I really found your chapters that you read very, very interesting. And I like all the students, whatever they've presented so far, really interesting. And like, who was the last one to speak?
Santosh.
Santosh. I really like your what you presented, how to break bad habits and how to encourage people by showing that, okay, I've done this. So probably all of you should post it in. I think most of you are AS students, right?
Akshaya is, Santosh is not anymore.
I mean, he's a past beneficiary.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
correct.
yes.
Yeah, so I think you still are part of the AS students, right? You guys should post about this and encourage other students to join and, post your views about what you like about this.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely will do.
So this is
So,
something, Akka, you should listen to Santosh. Earlier, he was the quietest. It took us so long to make him open up, and I'm so glad to hear him speak, present his ideas so clearly and with so much of confidence. Santosh, kudos to you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
really like that all of you spoke very well and you presented your ideas so nicely. And about the book, I really liked the experiment that with the birds. I found it very nice. And about the food scientists also, I think I'm going to use that for my diabetes prevention program. So it was very insightful and very informative.
okay, nice, nice.
Thanks for allowing me to join Kanti and Meera.
Thank you many times, Swati. Welcome.
Always.
So that's it. Then we're closing it a little
Yeah.
early.
We have few more days to go. The book is big, and we're still a long way
So
to go.
how many more chapters are there totally?
So it is. We have come up till 115 page,
Pages. Ah.
and 1
No,
minute.
chapter wise, how many chapters are there?
Forget the chapters, man. I'm looking at the pages.
Hmm.
The conclusion, Varaki, the conclusion is 253 pages. So we have only 130 pages left. 140 pages. And at the rate we are going, I think we'll be done faster.
Oh, good. Then maybe after that, what we could do is start revising and just making notes of the important things, and then start looking at how we can implement it.
Surely.
Because this book is all about implementation. It's not just that feel good kind, just keep listening to it and very nice idea, very nice. It's all about how we're going to implement it in our lives.
Yes, that it is.
Yeah. And I'm sure all of us will have some habit that we want to work on.
I am thinking so much about how to implement it in my life. There's so many things I want to work on.
I was just thinking that first exercise wherein make a list of all the things that you do, all the habits that you currently have. I think that is one thing we should do, which will help us to, it's like a reflection process.
Yes. Yes. Okay,
So,
close the
okay.
thing.
Yeah. So thank you. See you all. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night. See you tomorrow.